Welcome to Rock Solid Productions, where in this episode, we're going to test out 4 different docks for the Nintendo Switch to find out which one, if any of them, look better than the others. Hey everyone, Gary here with Rock Solid Productions. One of the cool things in 2017 was the Nintendo Switch, and it was something everyone was really jazzed about. It had a great combination of both portable and home console gameplay. It looked great, it was fun, it had some great titles. Now, one of the things in portable mode, you can play it wherever you go, you're good to go. But if you want to hook it up to more than one TV, you need to buy an extra dock. Now, Nintendo does offer their OEM dock, and they're not cheap. They're about $90. Yeah, it works well. You know what you're getting. It comes with everything that you need, but there are definitely some less expensive options out there from third parties. 3 of which we've reviewed for you on the channel here. This is the Insignia dock, available through Best Buy. This is the Nyko dock, available through GameStop and through Amazon.com. And this is the ChargeN Pro Switch Hub, also available through Amazon.com. I will have affiliate links to all of these down below in the More Info section if you want to check them out. These vary in price from, you can get the Insignia dock for anywhere between $34.99 and $39.99, depending on if Best Buy has it on sale. I actually got this one for $39.99. The Nyko dock runs about $50, and then the ChargeN Pro Switch Hub is available right now for $44.99 on their Amazon storefront. Couple differences between these 3 docks to begin with. First and foremost, the number of ports and everything that they have on them. The Insignia dock is going to have one of each. One USB-C for power, that's the same on all 3. You only need one for power. One HDMI port, again, you're only going to need one output for your HDMI, but it only has one USB port on it. The Nyko dock has all the exact same ports as what the stock OEM dock has. So it has a USB 3.0, 2 USB 2.0 ports, and the same with the ChargeN Pro Switch Hub. Has a USB port on each side here, also has a USB 3.0 port on the back. Now, between the 3 of them, and actually the Nintendo dock, because we're going to show video from that here as well, these 3 all offer additional, I don't want to say protection over the stock Nintendo dock, but some early purchasers of the Nintendo Switch, they ran into an issue where the stock dock, if they weren't careful with how they slid the Switch into the dock, could scratch up the display. Owing to the design and styles on each of these, that's not going to be an issue. Now, the Nyko dock, early reports were that some users were having problems with the USB-C port breaking off in their Switch or otherwise damaging their Switch. There was also reports that when using the Nyko dock that it would not always wake up if you did have it suspended or in sleep mode. There has been a firmware update, which we've done a video to show you how to do it. That'll be down below in the More Info section too. The ChargeN Pro Switch Hub is definitely the smallest out of all of these, but it's also, I don't want to say it's the least feature-rich, but it has the fewest items that come in the box with it. Everything that you see here from the stock Nintendo dock, if you were to buy another one of those, the Insignia dock, or the Nyko dock, they all come with a power supply, and they come with an HDMI cable. The ChargeN Pro Switch Hub does not come with either of those. It's basically, this is what you get in the box with it. If you need to pick up an HDMI cable, you can pick those up at any major electronics retailer. You can also get from my friend Ryan at Castle Mania Games. He does also have AC adapters for the Switch that are perfectly compatible with the Switch Hub too. One other feature on the Switch Hub that these 2 do not directly do out of the box is the fact that it does have this button on the back, and with this, while leaving it connected to your HDMI cable, you can toggle between desktop mode and TV mode, so you can go back and forth between charging and playing in desktop mode and then playing on your TV. You can kind of sort of do that with these two docks here as well. You just have to unplug the HDMI cable from the back of it. It's not the perfect solution, but it's a solution. So what we're going to do is we have 4 games that we are going to play on each of these. We're going to play some Sonic Mania, and then we're going to play some Double Dragon 4, and then we're going to play some Yooka-Laylee. Oh, Yooka-Laylee is an awesome game. And Zelda Breath of the Wild. And one of the reasons why we're going to play Zelda Breath of the Wild is that is what ChargeN Pro says really makes a difference on their Switch hub. So we're going to see how things stack up. So we will have each of the videos kind of labeled as far as which is which, and we'll let you compare for yourself. So let's get to some gameplay. With the ChargeN Pro Switch hub, it actually does, starting here on Sonic, it actually does look a little bit brighter and more vibrant. Something that I really did not expect right out of the box. Now, just to keep everything similar from one to the next, I'm using the same HDMI cable, the same power supply with all 4 docks. So there's no, difference in quality in the HDMI cable. That way too, it eliminates any issues too as far as, if it includes an HDMI cable like 3 out of the 4 do, claiming that, well, you're using a better HDMI cable, or the HDMI cable that comes with one is better than the other. We're using the same with all 3. That way we get super consistent results. Playing on the Nyko dock, it seems very responsive. Colors look good. The audio sounds really good too here on Sonic Mania. Although I do have to admit that I wish the invincibility music would be more like what was in the original Sonic the Hedgehog. Just not a big fan of this musical choice. With the Insignia dock being the least expensive out of all 4 of these, you would expect, for it to give up something here or there, and it does a little bit. I will say the Insignia dock does look probably grainier than any of the other 4 docks that we've tested here. That being said, it's also, like I mentioned, the least expensive one out there. Now, the stock Nintendo dock is clearly the basis of comparison for any other dock out there. It's the one that everybody's going to have, and everyone's going to be familiar with how it looks. So really, it's how does it measure up to the other 3 docks in here. And I would say it's very much on par with the Nyko dock, although I would say I do think the ChargeN Pro Switch hub does look, at least in Sonic, a little bit sharper. Now, the colors really do look pretty vibrant and really nice on the ChargeN Pro Switch hub. I'd say probably out of all of them, it probably actually looks the best, at least here with Sonic. Now we are going to move on to Double Dragon 4. And here you can see exactly how all the graphics are definitely inspired by the earlier NES style 8-bit graphics. I will say that the Insignia Switch dock does look a little bit grainier, but I mean, it works if you're looking for an inexpensive alternative for in a kid's bedroom, so that way you can have your main dock in a living room and then this one in a secondary room, so you're not fighting over where your Switch is. It's a good option to have for the money. Not a great option as far as video quality though. I would say on Double Dragon 4, the graphics on the stock Nintendo hub probably look the closest to me to the Insignia dock, so that tells me quite honestly that the Insignia one isn't as bad as the other, as what I may have thought. It's more along the lines that just the other 2, the Nyko Switch hub and the ChargeN Pro hub, just look a little bit sharper. On the Nyko dock, it does look a little bit, blurred or smudgy. I mean, not terrible, and I don't consider this to be a great looking game in the first place, but it definitely does not look crystal clear on the Nyko dock at least. So now we are going to move on to Yooka-Laylee. Now, Yooka-Laylee is the spiritual successor to one of the greatest games ever for the N64. I'm talking about Banjo-Kazooie. Absolutely great game. A lot of the same people who worked on that have worked on this. I would say on Yooka-Laylee here, I'm probably noticing the least amount of difference between the different docks that we have out there. They all actually look pretty good. The Insignia dock is a perfect example of something that it's budget friendly and it works well. You just got to remember its target audience. It's for someone looking for a dock that, just for an extra room. I don't think that it's really designed to be, a primary dock. Graphically, again, the stock Nintendo hub looks really good. I'd say Yooka-Laylee, if anything, is possibly one of the least graphically demanding games that I've played on here, which is kind of funny that this looks more even across all 3 or all 4 docks than, say, the Double Dragon 4 did. The Snake has a Zach Morris phone. I'm just going to point that out. If you don't know what the Zach Morris phone is, you're too young to be watching this. No, Zach Morris, Saved by the Bell, terrible show. On the Charge-N Pro Switch Hub, Yooka-Laylee still looks really, really good. Good color palette here, good shadowing, good draw distance. No major complaints here. I absolutely love how this totally feels like Banjo-Kazooie. They have done an amazing job. Now the TV that I'm using here is just a 1080p Element television I bought in 2014 on Black Friday. It's nothing special. It's actually pretty similar to what most people would have in their homes in like a game room or a secondary room. It's not 4K capable, so I am looking at this strictly, no upscaling. How does this look in 1080, which quite honestly is all the Switch itself can do. I'd say Yooka-Laylee, if anything, is possibly one of the least graphically demanding games that I've played on here, which is kind of funny that this looks more even across all 3 or all 4 docks than, say, the Double Dragon 4 did. So that's what Yooka-Laylee looks like. And now we're going to head to Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now, one thing too on Breath of the Wild is I'm not going to have any audio playing here just to avoid any copyright strikes or anything like that. For many people, myself included, the first real experience with the Switch after the main menu system was Zelda Breath of the Wild, and the game still looks gorgeous on the stock dock here. I will say I do think that the stock Nintendo dock does not look quite as sharp as either the Nyko or the Charge-N Pro Switch Hub, but it still looks very good. I think, if anything, using the Charge-N Pro Switch Hub, Link looks a little bit more cel-shaded than normal. It reminds me, very much as like Wind Waker, quite honestly, just as far as the graphical looks and everything. So the Charge-N Pro Switch Hub is doing something a little bit differently than the others, graphically, and especially where I can notice it here. I don't think the color tone and definition is quite as good on Link here in Breath of the Wild on the Insignia dock as in the other docks. It kind of reminds me of Double Dragon 4 a little bit, where it's just a little bit just blurry and not as precise. The lens flare looks great. J.J. Abrams would definitely approve. And here you can see the detail in the fire and the old man as well. I would say, as far as video quality, I would probably rate them, the Nyko dock and the Charge-N Pro, damn near identical. Although in Breath of the Wild here, I did think the cell shading was a little bit more pronounced on the Switch Hub, which is one of the things Charge-N Pro does bring up themselves. I would say the stock dock would probably be third as far as video quality, and then the Insignia dock fourth. But the Insignia dock isn't bad at all. It just wasn't quite as sharp as the other 3. So there you have it, our side-by-side comparison of 4 very good docks available for the Nintendo Switch. Now, each of them has their own strengths, and they each have their own little weaknesses. The Nintendo dock comes with everything. It's the most expensive, but it's guaranteed to work. The Insignia dock, it's the least expensive, still comes with a power supply, still comes with an HDMI cable. Visuals were not always the best on it, though. I'd say between the Nyko dock and the ChargeN Pro Switch Hub, you got the best visuals. Now, the Nyko dock comes with everything as well. Comes with your power supply, comes with an HDMI cable. The ChargeN Pro Switch Hub does not come with either of those. If you need an all-in-one package, my recommendation right now would probably be to go with the Nyko dock itself. Honestly, it's been my daily driver since I got it. This was the first external dock or separate dock that I purchased for my Switch, and I've been really happy with it. I know many people bag on Nyko. There were the early reports that this did cause damage on their units. I pre-ordered mine through my local GameStop. The day it came out and was released to the general public, I bought mine. I filmed the unboxing that night. I filmed the review later that day or later that week, shortly thereafter. I have been using the daylights out of this, and I have encountered no issues whatsoever. Now, in an effort of full disclosure, the ChargeN Pro Switch Hub was provided to the channel here at no charge whatsoever. They are not reviewing this content before it goes live. I will say that the ChargeN Pro Switch Hub does work quite well. I wish they would drop the price a little bit, and I said that in my original review too, just because it does not include at least the power supply. If it included the power supply and was the same price that it is now, I would probably actually rate it as good, if not better, value-wise than the Nyko dock. Since it doesn't include those and you do need to purchase those separately, I would probably recommend the Nyko dock a little bit over that. Now, I did mention earlier too that if you needed a power supply for the ChargeN Pro Switch Hub, CastleManiaGames.com, they do carry them. And this is what it looks like here. I'll flash a link up and an image right on the display right now. The nice thing too is if you use promo code ROX10, you'll save 10%. And in addition to that, if you spend a couple bucks more, say that you needed some other accessories, say you wanted a wireless controller for your NES Classic or Super NES Classic, orders over 20 bucks, you get free shipping too in the US. So that's another great deal over at CastleMania Games. Make sure that you check them out. All 4 of these hubs and docks, they work great. They're really not a bad one in the bunch. Each one of them fits a niche, and I think they do that quite well. For my money, the best value at this time is going to be the Nyko dock. But these are just my opinions. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments if you've been using different hubs, what you thought of the video quality, if you could see a difference from one to the next to the next. I'm recording the audio as I'm playing on the TV, not as I'm editing and doing the rendering. So that's my first-person view looking at a television, how these all look. The video that you're seeing here is actually coming through the stock dock down below. Let me know what you're using, what you have found that you really like down in the comments. You can also email me if you've got any questions, rocksolidmail@gmail.com. If you do want us to review any products on the show, that is the best way to get a hold of us as well. We'll try to figure something out for you. You can also reach me on Twitter at RockSolidStudios, and we can always continue the discussion over on our Facebook page, facebook.com/RockSolidProductions. I'd love to hear from each and every person out there. I want to know what you think. What are you guys using? What do you think of this? Do you want to see more of it? Do you want to see less of it? Make sure that you go ahead and leave a like as well on the video if you did go ahead and enjoy what we brought you here too. Also, if you want to help support the future of Rock Solid Productions, don't forget you can do so by visiting our Patreon page, patreon.com/rocksolid. And for those who contribute $25 or more in a single month, we are going to be sending out Rock Solid Production t-shirts over the next few weeks. So go ahead, $25 and up patrons. Shirts will be coming in the near future. So this has been our 4-hub dock challenge for the Nintendo Switch. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon.